All right, so far we've been using servo motors to do like to get that 180-degree range of motion where we can control the position. And a servo motor is basically like, at least like the hobby ones, the word servo can mean a lot of things, but in this hobby sense, it's basically a motor that has that kind of 180 degrees of motion, and then you can specifically control that position. And then there's other ones that have different ranges of motion depending on how they're configured, and you might even get one that can do a full circle, and you position that circle back and forth, but then can't rotate past that. And they have encoders in them where they are positioned in a certain way. Okay, and so you can control the position. You can't necessarily control like the speed, and then you have to stop when you get to those limits. Because it's such a common like package, like the shape of it, and because of the simplicity of controlling it, they have like some manufacturers modified those servos to basically have speed control instead of position control. And so instead of going from one position to the other, you can control like its speed instead, and it will rotate forever. Okay, and so like you could think about like how this would be convenient for like driving like a wheel or something that just continues to turn, whereas the other servo gets stopped. And when we use motors, we use different kinds of gear motors, and in order to control them, you might need a motor driver to handle like the current and stuff. And these kind of continuous rotation servos just have that all built in. And so that makes it very convenient for us. But when we're wiring up, we wire them up exactly the same way as we did with the servos previously, right? You have these three wires here. The brown one goes to ground, the red goes to power, and this yellow one goes to the signal. And for that signal, we're going to control it the exact same way. So I'm going to show you how to get set up here with a continuous rotation servo. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to say pound include. So we got a fresh Arduino sketch here. We're going to include our servo library, servo.h. Okay, and then we're going to create an instance of our servo object. So servo, we'll call it continuous servo or something else. And then we'll have a const int servo pin. I've got mine on, let's see, pin 4 here. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say continuous. Make it something else. We'll just call it servo. Maybe left servo. There you go. Something a little shorter to type. So left servo dot attach. And we tell it it's on servo pin. So we'll call this maybe left servo pin. Just like that. Okay. And then to control it, we just go like this. Left servo dot right. And basically, the way that we can think about this is that when we write it, we can think that 0 is backwards, 90 is stopped, and then 180 is forwards. And then anything between 0 to 90 will be like a variation, right? So it'll be speed control, right? So speed different, I guess 0 to 89, different speeds backwards, and then we'll have probably 91 to 180, different speeds forwards. Right, and these backwards and forwards are relative, right? So if you have it switched around, obviously it would be the different direction. Okay, so we're going to write it, if we write it to 90 though, that's going to be stopped. And so for now, we'll do an example where we're going to write it to left servo dot right. We're going to set it to 180. And left. And then we'll do delay. Maybe like 2 seconds. And then we'll do it again. And this time we'll write it to 90. So it's going to stop. So it's going to go for 2 seconds. It's going to stop for 2 seconds. So I'm going to run it. I've got this little servo right here. Let's see if it goes. Alright, and so I've got it. And you can hear it going. So it goes for 2 seconds. Then it stops. Okay. And then let's change it now so that this goes to 0. So you should see it. Try running that. You should see it go the opposite direction. And now I've got it going the opposite direction. Okay? And that's basically all we got to do. One thing that might be worth trying is just testing out the different speeds. And so I'll kind of show you how to do that next. So we're going to take this same sketch. I would make a copy of it so you have a different version. You can rename it to be servo speed, maybe serial control. And so we'll make it so that we can manually control these speeds and test out some different speeds here. Okay. And so first thing we'll do is we're going to clear out what we have in our loop. Okay. And then we're going to say here at the start, we'll say serial dot begin 9600. Okay. And then what we're going to do is come down to here. And we're going to say if serial dot available is greater than 0, we'll say serial dot parse int, and then we'll say int speed equals, okay, and then we'll do left servo dot right, and then we'll send that speed, okay. And so let's also say serial dot print ln, maybe oops, enter speed, and then here we'll print that speed. So serial dot print ln speed. So you have the ln here, so it skips a line. It'll print on the same line as this. Okay, so let's see if that works. We'll give ourselves a little delay here too. Delay 100. No, we'll go 500. Okay, so let's try running that. Nope, doesn't like that. Oh, it should be a capital I right there for int. Looks like that was the only error. Okay, so it's uploaded. Let's go ahead and monitor it. Okay, done. Doesn't want to talk to it though. Let's see. Okay, there we go. So now we're going to try typing in different speeds so we can compare them. So we'll start with 0. There we go. Now it's going backwards. Now let's try to go 45, and it slows down a little bit. Oh, interesting. It's getting, so we got to do this. So I'm going to say serial dot read to clear the buffer. Okay. Let's see if that solves that issue. We're assuming that changing that speed twice. Okay. So let's try 0. Let's try 45. So it's slowed down. Let's try 70. That's really slow. Let's try 85. And now it's like really slow. And now let's try 95. And that's actually stopped. Interesting. Let's try 100. So there, that's going forwards. We'll go 145. It's going forwards fast. Okay, so you can try it out like that. And here we've been able to have this kind of serial control over the speed. Let's go and set it back to 90. There you go. Okay, and using this, and then let's now come back to our other one right here. And then let's think about maybe you could put an input here, right? So you say const int button, or if you want to use like your the IR input or something like that. You know, you could put a button here, whatever. 6, whatever pin you want to use. You know, you configure it with an input. You know, your pin mode. What was it? IR input pin. You know, whatever you want to do here. So, but do something with it to control it. And then here now you could do like, for example, where you say like if the button's pressed, you know, you set it to 180, else set it to 90, something like that, where you can be controlling it based on controlling the motor. You could even try hooking up to like an analog sensor where you control the speed. Just do something to kind of try this out and see what you come up with.